You ever been told, nope, the system just can't do that? When you're dealing with those giant multi-million-dollar software systems that run, well, pretty much everything. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how the pros, the real experts, teach these old dogs new tricks. We're talking about bending the rules to solve what look like impossible business problems. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so here's our mission, straight from a real business. They're saying, look, we need to track credit for all our customers, but we only want to actually block orders for the high-risk folks, and only when it's a standard order. Any urgent orders or orders from government customers, those have to go through no matter what. Sounds reasonable, right? I mean, track everything, but only stop a very specific combo. But that one little request, that's where our whole story kicks off, because the software, out of the box, is built to say no to exactly this. So, now what? You've got this incredibly powerful, super expensive piece of software, and it basically just throws its hands up. This is that moment, right? It's when the expert gets called in. Their job is to figure out how to make the machine think outside its own programming, without accidentally blowing the whole thing up. All right, first things first, we're going to dig into why this rule is even considered impossible in the first place. It really boils down to this clash between what the business actually needs and how the software was built to think. The easiest way to think about it is like a light switch. In these massive enterprise systems, a feature like credit check is usually either on or it's off for customer. That's it. It's a blanket policy. The system isn't really built for subtlety or nuance. It's built for huge, massive scale operations. It just sees the world in black and white. But of course, real business doesn't work in black and white, does it? It operates in all those messy shades of gray. And this is exactly where the standard, built-in tools, the ones that come right out of the box, just start to crumble. And here's the really frustrating part. The system gets you so close to what you want. I mean, it's got all these settings, these drop-downs and checkboxes that let you set rules based on the order type or based on the customer's risk. But here's the killer, the one fatal flaw. It can't understand the word and. It just can't process a rule that says, check this condition and this other condition at the same time. And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? The business needs a scalpel. They're saying, block an order only if the customer is high risk and the order is standard. But what does the system give them? A sledgehammer. It's designed to block if the customer is high risk or if the order is standard. That one little word, that tiny change from and to or, can stop perfectly good orders from going out the door. It's a massive multi-million-dollar headache. Okay, so how do the experts get around this? Well, they don't try to fight the system head-on. That's a losing battle. Instead, they create this really clever, really elegant workaround. They build something we're going to call a matrix. And this right here is a pro tip, a golden rule for anyone working with these systems. You never, ever hard code business rules deep inside the software. Why not? Because business rules always change. The really smart play is to build a sort of cheat sheet on the side, a little table that the system can just look at to get its instructions. And this is it. This simple little table is the whole solution. It's our cheat sheet. Forget about complicated code. Just look at it. Row 1, order type is standard order. Customer group is high risk. Should we block? Yes. There it is, our impossible rule just laid out plain and simple. And the other rows? Those are just the exceptions. Urgent order for a high-risk customer? Nope, don't block. Standard order for the government? No block. All we have to do is write one little piece of code that says, hey system, before you do anything, just go look at this table. And this is the real game changer. What was a huge coding problem, something that would need developers, testing, a whole deployment cycle, is now just a simple data entry task. I mean, think about it. If the business decides tomorrow they want to start blocking medium-risk customers, they don't have to put in a big IT ticket. Nope. Someone just goes in and adds a new line to this table. That's it. You're giving the power back to the business to manage their own rules. So having a great idea like this matrix is one thing. But in a system with literally millions of lines of code, figuring out the exact spot to plug this thing in, well, that's the real magic trick, isn't it? It's all about finding that perfect intervention point. Let's stick with an analogy here. Picture the system's credit check process as a super literal, by-the-book gatekeeper, okay? The second you hit save on an order, this gatekeeper pulls out a clipboard and starts going down a strict checklist. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. Our job is to find the one spot on that list where we can sneak in and slip them our little cheat sheet. So here's the gatekeeper's checklist. Let's run through it real quick. First, the user saves the order. Makes sense. Second, the system does a basic check to see if credit management is even turned on. But then, right here, this is our moment. The original developers, bless them, left a little hook for us. It's a point in the process where the system basically pauses and asks, hey, got any special instructions before I move on? Bingo. That's our intervention point. That's where our little piece of code sits, and all it does is whisper to the gatekeeper, psst, go look at that custom table we made.
Now hold on. If you think we're done, that we've solved it, you're about to walk right into a classic trap. This is one of those subtle details that really separates a good solution from a truly expert-level bulletproof one. So you might be thinking, okay, this is easy. At that intervention point, we just tell the gatekeeper to skip the check for an urgent order, right? Just bypass the whole thing. And it seems logical, but it has a really dangerous, hidden side effect. To get why this is a trap, you gotta understand that the system is actually doing two separate things here. First, it performs a check. That's the simple yes or no decision. Should I block this order? But second, it updates the exposure. This is super important. This is where it records the value of that order against the customer's total credit limit. It's how the finance team knows how much credit a customer has used up. And that's the trap. See, if you tell the system to skip the check, it often skips the update too. And now you have a huge problem. You've got all these urgent orders flying out the door, but their value is never being recorded. The finance department has a massive blind spot. They have no idea what the customer's true credit usage is. They're flying completely blind. That is a disaster just waiting to happen.
So what's the expert fix? It's actually pretty elegant. You don't skip the process at all. You let the gatekeeper do their thing. You let the system go ahead and run its normal calculations and come up with its own decision. And then, at the very last possible second, after all the math is done, but just before the system stamps block on the order, our code jumps in. It looks at our matrix, sees the rule for this order is no, and it basically snatches the result out of the air and changes it from block to approve. And just like that, you get the best of both worlds. The credit exposure value gets updated correctly, and the order gets to go out the door. Problem solved. Okay, let's zoom out for a second, because this whole thing was about more than just one tricky credit rule, right? So what are the big lessons here? What's the advice we can take away from this and apply to pretty much any complex system? Well, it really comes down to what's in an expert's toolkit. First, centralize your logic. Put all your rules in one place, just like our matrix table. That way, there is a single source of truth. Second, always anticipate the side effects. That was us spotting that update versus check trap before it became a real nightmare. Third, build solutions that are easy for other people to maintain. Give the business the tools to manage their own rules. And finally, test everything. And I don't just mean test for what should happen. You have to test for what shouldn't happen too, to make sure your fix didn't break something else. So the next time you're in a meeting and someone says, oh, the system can't do that, maybe you can pause for a second. Maybe the real question is, have we just not found the right cheat sheet yet? Have we not found the right gatekeeper or the right little crack in the process to slip our instructions in? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? What impossible rules are hiding in the systems you use every single day, just waiting for a clever trick?